You, of course, are listening to the MHA podcast. Why in the world would you play Isaiah McKenzie over your third-round pick, T. Higgins? Why? I like any quarterback that can make Will Fuller look good.
I love it. I think he's a top 20 receiver.
I mean, he is the Jamar Chase whisperer.
Oh, hell yes. Oh, my God.
You know, everybody loves Lamar Jackson.
Hated it.
I trust Derek Carr.
Come on. For real?
I know why you did. It's because you're crazy.
It's still the week and the games aren't even over yet. It's great. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Patrick Mahomes. Looks so good. Kyle Pitts was bad.
It's not my shebang. Justin Jefferson.
So good.
We could call him Russell Wilson if you want.
Ooh. Well done, sir. That is good stuff. All of those guys have more fantasy points than Tom Brady. I'm laughing, but I'm crying at the same time. It's terrible. Well, good evening, MHA owners. We started this season many months ago with 12 teams vying for that championship. Now we're down to 6. Eric Lansing, along with the usual suspects of Mikey Renault and Todd Diamond. Gentlemen, the regular season is over. Playoffs are among us now. Are you guys excited for you guys' playoff run?
Absolutely.
Mikey?
I'm probably at the worst I think I've been all season, so I'm not excited. I'm just hoping to do my best.
That's the spirit. Do your best. That's what Jordan said to his boys. Just do your best. Yeah. Todd, you finally lost after many weeks of success, but you're in the playoffs. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Like I said, I had
Feeling fantastic.
I'm feeling fantastic. I had to go, and I had to thank Mikey. Told me I had to go. I had to at least go, 6 and either go undefeated 7-0 or 6-1. So I'm in the playoffs. It's the Butterfingers are back in the playoffs. It's been a while, so feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Feeling good. Well, I'm happy for you guys. Let's get into it. Let's get into some news first.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
So, news. Not a lot of it, but there's some significant news. And, of course, we'll start with the tamales as he's trying to do the best he can because he's got to do it without his starting quarterback in Justin Herbert, who will miss the rest of the season with a broken index finger. He actually had surgery today. And, yes, that index finger is on his throwing hand. Eason Stick could be an option for Mikey Renault. So, tough news, Mikey. Well, it happened early in that game. Gosh, I just got to feel so terrible. I mean, this was a guy you reached for at the beginning of the season, in the second round, I believe. And now, right when the playoffs start, you don't have him. That's tough. That's tough rowing for sure.
Yep, I'm going rummaging through a dumpster right now to figure out what the best option for my quarterback in the playoffs is going to be.
Well, just know that there's got to be someone out there. Because last year in the playoffs, remember, good old Gonzo Cats, his quarterback got hurt in time for the playoffs. And good old Gardner Minshew, 50 points. There's got to be something out there that can get you 50 points, right? Can Eason Stick give you 50 points?
Yeah, I don't think you've seen what's out there right now. I don't.
Oh, I've seen. Remember, I lost my quarterback this year, too. A lot of quarterbacks going down this year. But, yeah, good luck with that. More news on the tamale side. And I don't know if Mikey has an update, but Keenan Allen's been dealing with an issue. Did not participate in today's walkthrough. So another situation. How good do you feel about him being ready for this week?
Not very. If I was him, I wouldn't want to play with that garbage team.
Yeah, they're probably not going to the playoffs. So why risk injury, I guess? But who knows?
I mean, we'll see if he practices tomorrow. But I think I even told you, Todd, on Sunday night, like, even if he was playing, and I didn't know about this heel injury, but Like, I was considering benching him anyway, just because I don't like the Easton Stick thing. I don't like that it's Thursday night. You know, I've got so many scenarios playing in my head, so I don't really know what I'm going to do at this point.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
boy.
that's a good point. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it'd be one thing if maybe if the game wasn't on, Thursday night, or it was on Saturday, see Sunday or even Monday night, maybe you have a little couple more days to think about it. But yeah, only with one day to think about it, that's tough.
Tough indeed. Those Chargers. I don't feel like they ever get it right. What else happened? Tyreek Hill. I didn't see this play, but I heard he was horse collared to the ground and now is dealing with an ankle injury. He's considered day to day. Of course, that's big for Belt Sanders, who's in the playoffs, and Chad Powers fan club. Justin Jefferson, he took a wallop of a hit his first game back after many weeks off. He took a real big hit, kind of in the back rib kidney area. I'm not real sure. But he did not practice today, so we'll see how that goes. But Chad Powers done well, even without Justin Jefferson. And that's the only injuries, at least with teams that are still in the playoffs. Anything else that I missed, or you guys want to talk about any other? I mean, we don't have to talk about Aaron Jones, right?
Absolutely not.
No.
No, we'll just see if he plays. Najee didn't practice today. Najee Harris didn't
Oh,
practice today.
Najee. I did see that and forgot to type that in. Yeah, that's true. Najee didn't
But
practice today.
I think that's just precautionary. So I think he's if yeah they say if he has a good practice, obviously tomorrow and Thursday and Friday, and then it'll be because obviously plays on Saturday night, or Saturday. So we'll see the indications there. But I'll I have like I said this past week, this the week going in without Aaron Jones, I got some backup. So you gotta see how this. Eric loves that.
Uh,
Hey,
Backup.
I don't
Oh
bet.
my gosh. We'll
Backup.
talk about that when we get to
Okay.
it.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's recap this week 14 as we talk about the playoff scenarios and how everything kind of played out this past weekend. In a big matchup with seeding on the line, Kilgore Trout taking on the Tamales and defeating the Tamales. We talked about it with Justin Herbert going out early. The final score is 113-94. Herbert breaking his finger, and then Keenan Allen, of course, being a big part of that. So only 10 points from the Tamales quarterback. He did get another great outing from Raheem Mostert, 22 points. What a season for the Dolphins running back. He also had 14 from his other starting running back and Alvin Kamara, but man, that loss of Herbert may have been too much to overcome. Joe's squad got 31 points from his running back duo of Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. So that final 113-94 improves Kilgore's record to 9-5. He earns the 3 seed in the playoffs, while the Tamales fall to 8-6 and are now the 4 seed in the playoff. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to this, Miguel, in terms of your matchup. But I mean, with your quarterback going down, I mean, you still kind of had a chance because his quarterback didn't play that well in terms of Jared Goff, who had 28. But anytime you lose a quarterback that early in a game, boy, I mean, tough sledding for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I needed so much from the rest of my team, and Keenan Allen didn't really do that well. Diggs hasn't been doing that well lately.
Yeah.
I mean, I needed like an enormous amount of points on Monday night from Mostert and Waddle, and Mostert put up his share, but didn't get really much or anything enough from Waddle to help me out there.
Yeah, Tua kind of turned into a pumpkin. I didn't really watch that game, so it's hard to say exactly what happened, but obviously with Tyreek Hill going down, Waddle should have benefited, but didn't seem to go that way. In the second matchup, let's talk about that number 1 seed. Lion Rip earned that top seed after facing yet another team that couldn't pile up the points, 87 from the Belt Sanders, while Lion Rip scored 124. Aaron's team got a respectable 41 points from Will Levis. I don't know if it was his backup or a guy he picked up off the street, but 41 points is respectable from the garbage dump that is the quarterback's remaining. But his wide receiver combo of Cooper Kupp and Michael Pittman, they combined for 33 points. The Belt Sanders less than stellar day. Of course, started at the top, just 31 points from Tua. Didn't help that Tyreek Hill went down early with an ankle injury. And of course, we'll keep an eye on that as the week unfolds this week. He only had 7. Lion Rip earns the bye and the number 1 seed, while the Belt Sanders earned that final spot in the postseason. 1 bye in the books. Who gets the second bye? Well, it belongs to Chad Powers' fan club, who earned win number 9 this season after defeating Cooper's Cousins 129-104. Miles' starting running back tandem of Joe Mixon and James Cook totaled 38. And New Orleans defense demolished the putrid Panthers for 23 points. The season comes to a close, for Cooper's Cousins, who got a meager 4 points from Jamar Chase, 6 from Alexander Madison, and a big fat goose egg from Gabe Davis. Tough end of the season for Dylan's team. They went 1-5 down the stretch after starting 5-1-2. How about those red hot Butterfingers? They took on the Lemonheads. It was another solid performance from Brock Caffery. You like what I did there? Brock Caffery.
Very good. Very good.
58 total points between the two. And how about a ridiculous 22 points from David Njoku? Unreal. Yeah. But Mike Evans failed to show up, just 1 solitary point. And some guy named Dontavian Wicks made it on a starting roster. And so the Lemonheads took advantage. Let's celebrate kickers. 22 from Brandon Aubrey. Saquon played well for 21 points, and Jake Browning had solid back-to-back weeks. He had 45 points here this past weekend. It's the Lemonheads who led the league in points scored this week. Take small victories when you can get them. Ending the Butterfingers' 5-game winning streak, but the Lemonheads improved to 7-7. Todd's squad fell to 7-6-1, but hooray for ties. It still earns him the 5 seed, while the Lemonheads fall out of the playoff race, despite finishing 3rd in points. Todd, how are you feeling going into those playoffs?
Well,
with Brock Caffery.
Brock Caffery, very good. You got to trademark that. I guess if I was gonna have kind of a mediocre week from Mike Evans for only 1 point. Hey, glad it was right before the playoffs started. So hopefully he'll bounce back. But 22 points for David Njoku. That's amazing with Joe Flacco, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not high, drunk. I said it. Joe Flacco is the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns and is throwing passes. But I'm feeling good going into my matchup against Mikey. And just again, when you have Purdy and McCaffrey and what they've been doing all season long, again, I mean, we don't play this on paper. They have to still go out and do what they do. But I'm feeling good. Obviously how my season started with Aaron Rodgers going down. I thought, it's going to be hello number 1 pick or whatever the case may be. But here I am. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, here you are, Dontavian Wicks. Well done.
Thank you.
How about Eaton W's? They scored a season high 136 points to take down the notorious CUP squad. 6 players scored 10 or more points, including 51 from Matt Stafford, a season high 20 points from Drake London. After all that bad mouthing last week, Drake London showed up. An 18 from Jaden Reed, who's had a surprising 2023 season, for a notorious CUP. Patrick Mahomes let him down in a big way the past 2 weeks, just 40 points this week. Gus Edwards can only manage 15 total rush yards. And Sam Laporta, human a little bit, 33 total points. CUP falls to 5-9. Eaton W's improves to 5-8-1. And in the battle for the number 1 overall pick in 2024, the NWA edges out the Gonzo Cats in the matchup 113-108, thus giving the Gonzo Cats the first overall pick next season. Of course, CJ Stroud, he was injured in his game and only managed 13 points. How about another terrible outing from T. Higgins, just 5 points. DJ Moore racked up a ton of points this past week, 23 for NWA. Austin Eckler had his first double-digit point total in 4 weeks. And backup tight end Isaiah Likely, 15 points from that tight end position. Goodness, doe of the week. A lot of blowouts or relatively high point differences or margins this week, but there was one. You could give it to the Gonzo Cats, who probably should have played Rashad White, who's been killing it of late. He had 19 points. David Montgomery, I think, only had 9, and so that was a 10-point difference and a 5-point defeat. However, the Gonzo Cats do earn the number 1 seed, or excuse me, the number 1 overall pick. So, but at the same time, he does earn the first to worst mantra for this year after winning it all last season, and now is the worst team this season. So who gets the dough? Is it the Gonzo Cats or the NWA, Mikey? What do you think?
I gave it to NWA for not playing AJ Dillon over Austin Eckler. He could have won the number 1 pick.
Yeah, number 1 pick. Could have had whoever he wanted.
He
But
could have
that's just how it goes.
He could have had whichever quarterback he wanted.
Yes, he could have.
Don't.
All right, gentlemen. Let's get into some studs.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
And we'll let Mikey go first. Who was excellent? Who came up for their owner when they needed him the most in week 14?
Well, I give this one to Will Levis.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Aaron was in a position where he either won or he didn't get the bye. And when you saw, Trevor Lawrence get 51 on Sunday after he was questionable, it was questionable to me whether or not Aaron was going to be able to hold on. Fortunately for him, Allen's team did not do much this week, but credit to Will Levis, who piled up 41 points on Monday night, including a huge fourth quarter to secure the win for him.
Yep. Will Levis, folks. His 41 points, his highest total since that 53-point effort in that game he came in Atlanta many moons ago where he had 4 touchdowns in one game. But there you go. There's hope for you, Miguel. You could pick up someone off the garbage pile, put him in your starting lineup. Todd, who was a hero last weekend?
I'm gonna go with Dak Prescott. I mean, he's looking like he might win the regular MVP in football, but Dak Prescott, the last few games have just been ridiculous. I mean, 44, 62, 62, 45, especially doing that against Philadelphia. Yeah, Dak definitely is flexing his muscles for sure.
Yeah, Philly's defense is falling apart. They've given up 30 or more points in the last 3 weeks. But yeah, Dak has been great. He's definitely, raised his expectations for what I had for him going into this season. And man, they look like a well-oiled machine for sure. So yeah, Will Levis was at the top of my list. I could also go Cooper Kupp, who hasn't been his best this season. Obviously came to the season with an injury. Puka Nacua has stolen points from him this season, but his first overall pick for Lion Rip came up with 19 points, 8 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Just his 4th game this year. But he had 10 or more points, and what better time than an opportunity to not have to play this upcoming week and your first-round pick stepping up when it matters the most. Mikey, anybody else stand out to you from last week?
Yep. So I had the Denver Broncos defense, and
yeah, that's a good one.
15 points is one thing, but the most important thing that they did was injure the quarterback that they were playing against, which was Justin Herbert.
Oh,
kind of direct
I see
effect
now.
on the matchup. So yeah, not only did they score 15, but they injured my starting quarterback, which helped them get the win and kept me out of that bye.
Oh, I love fantasy football. That was good. I was just going to say, yeah, it's good. They've been coming around lately and putting up some decent point totals. Nope, it's because he injured your quarterback. Okay, I like that.
I mean, they had the 15 on top of it. So, I mean,
yeah, I know.
It's a really good performance. There's direct correlation there.
Oh, man. Todd, who else? Who was a stud in week 14?
I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley. 21
Sure.
points for him. Obviously his season.
He needed 8 more.
Yeah, eight more points, make it 29 points there. But the Giants, they're trying to show some life there. But Saquon, definitely, showing, still showing like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. Obviously the Giants are horrible or terrible, but Saquon definitely showed on Monday night, like, just give me the ball and good things will happen.
Yep, Saquon. Had a good season.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Powers fan club. We'll go back, talk about their team a little bit. But how about James Cook? Big 20 points to not only send Cooper's Cousins to their early grave, but to get up to 9 wins this season. His best performance all season long. Guy that he didn't want to trade over to Todd earlier this season. He's 19th amongst all running backs this season. You never know what to expect, especially with the Bills. And of course, we were all concerned about Josh Allen and scoring a bunch of touchdowns, and he has. It's not like James Cook has scored a lot of touchdowns. He's got 4 total, 3 of those on the receiving end. But he's just kind of been around. He's killed him a couple times, but I mean, he's put up relatively consistent numbers this season. And 20 points is big from a running back, especially this late in the season. Let's go over to the duds.
This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
Mikey, who stunk it up last weekend?
Well, I'm going to go with my team. I'm going to take a page out of Todd's book.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to go with Mikey's kickers because this is now 2 out of the last 3 weeks where a kicker of mine has gotten 0 points. This one was especially disappointing because it's not like he didn't have opportunities. He missed an extra point. He missed like a 35-yard field goal. So, yeah, my kickers are just terrible.
That's the one thing I've done right this year as kicker, and that's the one thing that Mikey continues to struggle with. You had the Indy kicker, and I feel like, too, anytime someone misses an extra point, it just puts you behind the 8 ball because the next time they go and score a touchdown, they'll go for 2. And if they miss that, then they're just behind the 8 ball altogether. And who knows what they're going to do. So I feel for you. Kind of.
Thanks.
Todd, who pooped in their big boy pants this weekend?
I'll just go with some of my team, and hopefully I think he'll bounce back. But Mike Evans, only 1 point. Not the Mike Evans. Surprisingly, Mike Evans this season, he's been putting up double digits all season long for the most part, but put up only 1 point against Atlanta. Not good. But again, I'll take the 1 point now. If he comes back and puts up 30 this coming week, then we'll be kosher.
We'll all be kosher. It's his worst outing of the season by far. Yeah. But I mean, in a game where 54 points were scored and he only had 1 point, seems odd.
Very odd.
I mean, you're starting him no matter what happens next week, but that was weird.
Well, there was one. I think he would have got a touchdown, and when we were watching it, I think they called it a touchdown, but then they saw that his hand. He had both his feet in, but then when he came down on the right side of the end zone, his hand was out of bounds. So can't play the what ifs, but that probably would have been, if he was just in just a smidge more, it would have been a touchdown. But
indeed, Mike Evans. One that stood out to me is our good old friend DeAndre Swift for Belt Sanders, just 3 points. And I feel like we said this before when he didn't have a good game. We probably talked about it last week where he had 3 points and it was game script. But I mean, this is continuing to be a pattern for this Eagles squad where they're just getting blown out and they have to come from behind, and he's not doing well for them because he's either, not in rhythm. He's not getting enough rushes because they're having to throw so much. but it's got to be frustrating. It's 3 straight games under double figures. 3 points last week. I mentioned 3 points this week. Rough going for DeAndre Swift of late after his incredibly promising start. Who else, Miguel?
How about Gabe Davis?
I was gonna say.
The true definition of boomer bust player. Like you never know when you can play him because I mean this has got to be I think the second time he's goose egged in a big matchup for Dylan when he needed him the most. I hate to say I told you so because I thought I was crazy in the receiver podcast. I remember, but this is just what he does.
This is what
I
he
mean,
does.
He's shown who he is at this point.
I hate him because I have him in that other league.
Well,
0 1 week, 17 the next. But my problem is there's no receivers out in the league, so sometimes I have to run them. But yeah, it is such a weird 3 1 week, 16, 8, 12, 17, 2, 1, 19, 0, 6, 0, 17, 0. Yeesh. 2 targets. Gabe Davis.
You'd be better
Todd,
off.
give me another dud.
All right, you'd be better off. Said using a third string wide receiver than Gabe Davis. But yes, I agree with you there. The other dud I had was
I should have played.
who?
You know who I should have played? Dontavian Wicks.
Yeah,
He had more points than Gabe Davis. Go ahead, Todd.
he sure did. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Jamar Chase. Now,
Didn't he get hurt though?
Well, yeah, yes and no, but only 4 points though. And Browning, showed the last 2 weeks, how good he is. But yeah, I mean, still, I understand he got hurt a little bit, but still, 4 points, not good. But it's not Jamar Chase's fault. But I guess I can throw another dud in here.
Wait, wait. It's not his fault. It's not the quarterback's fault because you just said he was good. Whose fault is it?
It's the whole Bengals' fault.
I will say Jamar Chase probably didn't have the season he thought he was having this he was
true.
going to have this year. I mean, he had that 42-point output in 1 week. He's had some good weeks in there too.
Yeah.
But he went as maybe the second overall wide receiver.
Yeah, he went third overall.
I mean, where is he at? He is in the top 5, so maybe you're being too harsh on him. But 89 receptions, 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. I don't know.
Or okay, I guess I'll just do it. But T. Higgins.
There's the right answer.
Okay,
That's who I have on my list.
T. Higgins.
Yeah, a disappointing season. I mean, he's had some injuries too, but he's also not shown up. Like for Jamar Chase to get hurt yesterday, here's an opportunity, and he dropped a couple passes, if I recall, too, in that game. Something's going on with T. Higgins, and he's trying to fight for that contract for next year.
Well,
I don't know what's going on with him.
Well, it's funny because both T. Higgins and Mike Evans, they're both wanting contracts. I wonder who you're going to give the contract to. Who's ever going to big contract to T. Higgins, Mike Evans. I think you're going to give it to Mike Evans if you choose between.
I'll tell you who gets more money. It's going to be T. Higgins.
No way.
Just because he's going to get a longer contract.
Longer contract, younger. Mike Evans is on the backside.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mike Evans, what he's doing so far this season with Baker Mayfield throwing him the football, I understand he's a little bit older and T. Higgins is the younger one and everything like that. But T. Higgins is still not, isn't showing me a lot of confidence. Like, yeah, let me give you big wide receiver money. I'd rather give it to Mike Evans, and kind of take my chances with that. But that's just me.
That is Todd. Last one before we move on here. One guy that we haven't talked about maybe since the beginning of the year, but how about Alexander Madison? 31st amongst all running backs, 660 rush yards, 0 rushing touchdowns. He's had 10 or more points. He had 10 or more points in 3 of his first 4 games, but just 1 in the last 8. Kind of disappointing. We haven't really talked about him much this year because that whole Minnesota offense was kind of lacking for a little while. I mean, at the beginning, it was running pretty well, even without Justin Jefferson. And Kirk Cousins goes down, but I just don't think I'd have to see where he was drafted at, but I don't know. I feel like there was some hype coming in. I don't know if Mikey was on this train or not. He went in the 4th round, so fairly high, going around guys like Brees Hall and Damian Pierce. And let's see, Josh Jacobs was also in that round. Right after him, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift. But I don't know. Alexander Madison, he was given the keys with Dalvin Cook leaving the squad. I don't think he has done well. His 31st overall amongst running backs. And didn't do well this past week either, but that's just one man's opinion. All right. So here are the final standings from 7 to 12. So when you're talking about who's going to be picking number 1, we kind of mentioned it already, but number 7, Lemonheads at 7-7. That's where they finished in 7th place. 8th place, Cooper's Cousins, 6-6-2. They'll have the 5th overall pick. Number 9, Eaton W's. They're 5-8-1 with a 4th overall pick. Number 10, Notorious CUP, 5-9, 3rd overall pick. Number 11, the NNWA, 5-9, 2nd overall pick. And as we mentioned, the Gonzo Cats finished 12th. They go from first to worst, 4-10. They will have the 1st overall pick in 2024. So, guys, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. Who's going to be that number 1 pick? Is it going to be CMC? Or is it going to be a quarterback? Or is it going to be Justin Jefferson? Who we think it's going to be? We'll start with you, Mikey.
It'll be CMC. I'm glad you asked me first, though, because I'll allow Todd the floor so that he can gush.
Todd, is it CMC?
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. I mean, there's just no. I know the last few years you say, well, wide receiver, but you know, McCaffrey is just he said he's pretty much put the doubters away. Like I'm a running back and a wide receiver, so it's gonna be Christian McCaffrey. That's plain and simple. There shouldn't be any like hesitation. There just shouldn't be.
So the top wide receiver scoring this year is Tyreek Hill with 240 points. CMC has 278 points. He is 60 points ahead of number 2, which is Raheem Mostert. 60 points and played the same number of games. So pretty amazing stuff. So with that being said, 7 through 12, here is your playoff matchups. Lion Rip and Chad Powers Fan Club both earning buys. The top seed, Lion Rip, will play the lowest seed available. So this isn't bracket. This is all seeding. So whoever comes in, if Allen beats Kilgore Trout at 6-3 matchup, that's who Lion Rip will play as number 6 Belt Sanders. So in terms of the first round quarterfinal matchups, the 4 seed Hot Tamales will take on 5 seeded Butterfingers. How exciting. And number 3 seed Kilgore Trout will take on those 6 seeded Belt Sanders. So how exciting for the podcast. 2 of these hosts going at it in the quarterfinals. And Mikey, you mentioned an interesting stat. When was the last time you guys faced in the playoffs?
2013.
Oh man, we were so much younger. That's 10 years ago. And who won that matchup?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it was.
I guess it wasn't the Tamales.
It was an epic battle for sure. On pins and needles, it was a great match. It was a great championship game, but Butterfingers on top, son.
So 8-6 Tamales versus 7-6-1 Butterfingers. You guys want to talk about your matchup real quick? Looks like if we're talking about Brockaffery, I can't even get this right now.
Brockaffery.
Brockaffery. Yeah. I tried a different way. I didn't work out. But they got Arizona this week, so that sounds like some delicious point totals for sure. Mike Evans versus Green Bay. Sio Njoku, can he do it again? I love Todd so much. He put Aaron Jones in his flex. Oh man.
You want to hear my backup?
He
You want
says
I fucking love it so much.
You
one
wanna
of
hear my
these
back?
days.
you want you want to hear my backup plan?
No, I don't want to hear your backup plan because you were saying the same thing. Oh, yeah, I got a backup plan if this doesn't work out. Dontavian Wicks was his backup plan. That was his secret weapon. That's what he called.
Well, this backup plan might actually be might not sound as crazy, but Chase Brown, he put up 15 points. He had a touchdown.
Oh man.
Gotta love those backup.
So Mikey, based on even just forget about your quarterback situation, how are you feeling about the rest of your team? I mean, you have the second highest scoring running back in Mostert. And Alvin Kamara, he is 6th. So how are you feeling about those guys?
I mean, I need the help of my roster that I drafted, my positional players. You know,
Yeah, Diggs needs to turn it around for sure.
Yeah, he's been struggling of late. The benefit here is, I mean, this is a matchup against Dallas that hopefully will be high scoring, and hopefully this is a good week for him to turn it around. He's had some pretty tough defensive matchups of late, so looking forward to hopefully turning that thing around. I like my matchups other than quarterback, to be honest. Kicker I'll figure out, I guess.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
Been saying that
$25. I'll drop Aubrey right now. It's all yours.
That would be considered collusion.
Yes.
Maybe. Who listens to the podcast anyway? It's fine.
I think the neat part of it is that nobody has anybody on Monday night.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true, huh?
And Todd's got a defense on Sunday night, but yeah, we'll see. Should be interesting. I like the Saturday games plays like an interesting part. There's 3 games on Saturday. Nobody really has too much there unless it forces Todd's hand a little bit, because if he doesn't know Aaron Jones news, then he has to play Chase Brown without knowing that news.
Oh my gosh. We're going to see Wicks again.
We might see Wicks again.
He will give Aaron Jones every opportunity.
Yep. Yep.
Because I mean, his other option, Jameson Williams, is also playing Saturday. So if they say Aaron Jones game time decision, I mean Josh Downs plays on Saturday. So yeah, probably looking at Dontavian Wicks, aren't we, Todd?
Or Chase Brown. Chase Brown will be the guy if Aaron Jones doesn't play.
Well, you won't know that though.
You're not listening.
Is what I'm saying.
What do you mean?
Because Chase Brown, Jameson Williams, and Josh Downs all play Saturday.
Well,
in the other matchup, interesting, the Josh Allen versus Dallas scenario and Jared Goff versus Denver. Denver's been playing well. Jared Goff did not play well this past weekend or the previous weekend. Dallas, of course, made Jalen Hurts look a little silly. Just 26 points last week. Although they did give up 58 to Geno Smith. Yeah, I remember that game. But Brandon Ayuk versus Arizona for the Belt Sanders is solid. We'll see if Swift and Walker. Here's who's in his flex currently. Good old Calvin Johnston. Good Lord.
Going back to that well. Well, I mean, if they are missing Keenan Allen, somebody's got to do something, right?
No, absolutely not. With Easton Stick.
Easton Stick. Sounds like a made-up name.
It does. Oh man. And gosh, Kilgore has so much relying on that Detroit Denver matchup. And of course, I'm on Ross St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. Oof. Calvin
Yeah, I
Ridley
mean,
versus Baltimore. Oh man.
it's almost like, yeah, he's got to root for his guys to destroy his defense, which
Yeah. He could still change that, but
is if his defense is good, then it's going to kill his other three guys. So that's kind of fascinating.
it's early. Not everybody changes out their guys this early. Todd put in Aaron Jones on Sunday night, I'm sure.
No.
Well,
Monday.
One of these days, Todd, Aaron Jones is going to play, right?
he believes
I mean, just
with every
again,
fiber
I
of his
hope
being.
hopefully he plays. Granted, just I mean, nothing's happened yet, but it would be kind of epic if Aaron Jones played and just went off for like 30 points. That would be amazing.
I find that to be impossible. Because my belief is whenever he does come back, that first game, like, they're not going to, like, ramp him up.
I know they're gonna put him on a pitch.
Do you think they're going to give him, like, 25 carries right off the bat when he can't stay healthy?
Yeah, look at the running backs that they've been been shucking out there. AJ Dillon hasn't been doing anything to prove that he can be the lead back. So they might just be like,
I get it, but so this happened before when he was hurt, and this was his stat line when they brought him back against Detroit after he was hurt. After the first 3 weeks, 5 rushing attempts for 18 yards. He had 2 fantasy points, and then he got hurt again the week after. And then when they brought him back against Denver, 8 carries for 35 yards. So why would they just like ramp him back up again?
Need to win. So they're playing for their playoff lives too. So just win.
Mikey, you want to hear Todd orgasm on this podcast as we go? So in Green Bay's matchup against Tampa Bay, here are the running backs the last few weeks. Bijan Robinson, 16 points. Chuba Hubbard, 22 points. Jonathan Taylor, 21 points. Christian McCaffrey, 19 points. He's playing him. That dude is playing him. Oh, I can't believe I missed the playoffs at Todd. Oh man.
Actually, I put in a waiver, so it may not be Wicks for my backup. Actually,
oh man. Well, there you go, gentlemen. It's playoff time.
Playoffs.
Well, I wish you guys the best.
Thank you.
You guys have a blast. Maybe I'll show up for the podcast next week. We'll see. But you guys can handle it.
I hope you do. It should be fun no matter who comes out of this. Like I said last week, this playoffs should be pretty good because there's no clear favorite. Like any of the 6 teams can come out and win this thing.
Yep.
All right.
We're going to have a new champ this year. No back-to-back champ. Dontavian Wicks, everybody. For Mikey Renault, Todd Diamond, I'm Eric Lansing. We'll see you next time. Maybe we'll talk more about Brock Caffrey. We'll just have to wait and see.